Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. I don't really share my dating stories unless they're funny, or just incredibly awkward, the sort of stories my friends enjoy over breakfast when we catch up. However, one moment completely changed how I view dating apps. I had always approached dating positively. Even on the worst dates, I would find something positive to take away. Despite being in my late 30s, I had tons of confidence in finding someone someday. I took pride in my appearance, working out, and keeping fit. My job was in sales, so I was naturally bubbly and chatty, even if I didn't always feel that way on the inside. During a period of success following a showroom opening I managed, I decided to rejoin dating apps. It felt like the right time. That spring, I began dating regularly. I had been messaging someone briefly on Bumble who lived about an hour away. His name was John. He had a few attractive photos, no bio, but seemed pleasant enough. We planned to meet, but since we were both busy, the conversation fizzled out, and I unmatched him when it went nowhere. A few weeks later, John popped back up on my app, and we rematched. We talked briefly about work and the weather. It had been a beautiful spring. John mentioned his job as a company rep took him across South Wales, making it easy to travel around. He mentioned he would be passing through my area and wanted to stop by. Instantly, my body went into anxious mode. It felt like when relatives drop by unannounced, but worse, because this was a stranger I barely knew. I told him not to come and said I was busy. I also made it clear I didn't want people showing up at my workplace. Instead, I suggested meeting in a public place for a proper date. He agreed. But his jokes about showing up persisted. I became uneasy. I hadn't told him exactly where my showroom was, but I realized he wasn't taking my no seriously. I went outside to check the small industrial unit where my business was located. It was a quiet, rural area with only a few businesses and houses nearby. I decided to leave early, something I rarely did on a Friday. For some reason, call it instinct, I checked his profile again. To my horror, the Bumble location tracker showed he was now within a mile of me. This man, who lived an hour away, was suddenly nearby. My showroom was surrounded by farmland, and the area itself was small and secluded. I quickly decided to move my car further down the unit estate, close the shutter door, and lock up, making it look like no one was there. As I walked to the entrance with my keys in hand, I heard tires on the concrete. A car was driving slowly toward my workplace. It stopped. Out stepped John. He looked nothing like his photos, scruffy, with holes in his shoes, unshaven, and overly cocky. "What are you doing here?" "I told you not to come," I called out. He laughed, brushing off my concerns. He said it wasn't hard to find me using Bumble's location feature and the details about my work. Walking into the showroom, he commented on how quiet it was and that I was working alone. Then he stood too close, smiling creepily. My confident facade started to crumble. Nervously, I showed him some of the items we sold, hoping to steer the situation towards something less threatening. He ignored me, instead saying things like, "You're really hot in person and you look better than your photos." Then, with a smug grin, he added, "I'm making you really nervous, aren't I?" "Yeah, you are," I admitted, trying to stay calm. "I'd actually prefer it if you just left." He seemed to enjoy my discomfort and replied, "I'm not leaving without a kiss." He moved closer, trying to touch my arm. I knew I had to stay tactical to get him to leave. I casually walked toward the office to grab my phone, but he slapped me hard across my backside. Alarmed, I told him to get out. As I pushed him toward the door, he grabbed my neck and tried to force a kiss on me. Instinctively, I hit him in the face and shouted that I'd call for help. Thankfully, he left, still smiling as he got into his car. Shaken, I locked the doors and called my brother, who begged me to contact the police. But I brushed it off, telling him the guy was gone. For the rest of the day, I monitored John's location on the app. Later, I noticed him heading back toward my area. I locked up and left, and when he arrived, he found the place empty. I unmatched him and reported his profile to Bumble. Even though I reported him, I've seen him pop up on various apps since then. From that day forward, I've hidden my location and stopped telling people where I work. I now have a busy job with lots of colleagues, but dating has lost its appeal. This story is a little different than most you hear on here. In this case, I am technically the online stranger, but you'll understand why this becomes a scary story later. Bear with me, I'm not the greatest storyteller. To give a little background, I was a 17-year-old kid who really enjoyed pranking people on the internet. I didn't have ill intent, I was just looking for a laugh, as rebellious teens often do. I'm sharing this story as a warning of how a seemingly funny situation can quickly turn into something scary. This took place in a high-crime area in Missouri. Back in 2017, I spent most nights at home with my boyfriend, now husband, and his brother, who was 19. Many nights, we'd stay up late, usually ending up at Steak and Shake around 3 a.m., joking, laughing, and being annoying teenagers. On this particular night, we had been watching insane clips from the MTV show Catfish. We joked about how funny it would be to prank someone by catfishing them. I know what you're thinking, it's a stupid idea, and it could hurt someone's feelings. But we were just kids looking for some laughs, and we didn't think it through. We created a fake account using photos of a Tumblr girl on a popular dating app and swiped right on every man we came across to see who would take the bait. Eventually, our account matched with an older man in his 40s. My brother-in-law took the lead in messaging him. The man was very eager to meet, begging to hang out immediately. We decided it would be funny to set up a meeting time and place, then watch his reaction. We picked a Walgreens down the street and told him to meet us there at 10 p.m. When 10 o'clock rolled around, we got in the car and headed to Walgreens. We sat on the sidewalk near the Redbox machine and waited. The man texted us, saying he was 2 minutes away. We replied that we were inside the store near the makeup aisle. A few minutes later, he texted again, "I can't find you. Are you sure this is the right Walgreens?" "Of course I'm sure. I come here every day, silly," I replied, cringing at how over the top we were playing the desperate bimbo act. "I was just in the restroom." "Maybe that's why you didn't see me. I'm over by the vitamin aisle now." "Where are you?" we wrote. We decided to go into the Walgreens to window shop and watch his reaction. If you've ever been to a Walgreens, you know the back of the store has slanted mirrors near the ceiling that let you see most of the aisles. We spotted the man pacing angrily, typing on his phone as he searched for us. We headed back outside to sit on the sidewalk. A moment later, we got another text, "Is this some kind of joke? I've checked every aisle in this damn store, and you're not here." As teenagers, we found his anger hilarious. "What do you mean?" "I'm right in the candy aisle," we replied. He texted back, "Do you think I'm an idiot?" Moments later, the man stormed out of the store, muttering angrily under his breath. He got into his car and drove toward the stoplight in front of the store. We burst out laughing, thinking the prank was over. But then, he locked eyes with me. He whipped his car around and sped back toward the store. That's when we realized we needed to get out of there. We ran around the back of the building and took the back roads home. Thankfully, he hadn't seen us get into our car. When we got home, we immediately deactivated the account. As funny as we had initially thought the prank was, it could have ended very badly. We were in a high-crime area known for daily shootings. There's no telling who this man was or what he might have done if he had caught us. So this happened in 2021. My girlfriends and I were planning on going to Myrtle Beach for a week-long vacation. I hopped on Tinder a week or so before and turned on my settings to show the guys in Myrtle, just to see what I had to look forward to when I got down there. I ended up matching with this attractive guy, and we were talking for a bit before I drove down for my vacation. He seemed pretty cool, so we talked about possibly meeting up when I got down there. Well, one night, we made plans, but he couldn't meet up until at least 11 p.m. I should have known then and there that that was a red flag. But I'm no stranger to meeting up with men for a little extra fun while on vacation, because why not? I was going to get free drinks. So, he told me to meet him at this one sushi restaurant, not too far from the boardwalk. But when we got there, they said they were closing. Then he suggested we go to this tequila bar that was within walking distance. As we walked there, talking, he then realized that he didn't have his ID. Red flag number 2. I was then like, maybe I should just leave, because they probably won't let you in. He said he was fine, because they let him in all the time. Okay, I said, feeling that gut feeling that something was off, and we went to the bar and got in the elevator. Lo and behold, they wouldn't let him in. He then suggested that we just get a beer and smoke at his place. And my dumbass agreed because free drinks, and I didn't get all dressed up for nothing. We drove separately to his place, and all was good for a while, drinking beer, listening to music, and smoking the devil's lettuce. One of my friends even called to check on me to see if I was okay. Thank God. Okay, so now that we're buzzed and stoned, things started spicing up, and we had started making out on his bed. All good at this point. Then things started getting hot and heavy, with lots of heavy petting, and we were about to do the deed. This is where it took a turn for the worse. He proceeded to grab a condom, but I had to stop him because I have a severe latex allergy, and the mood suddenly changed. On a positive note, he refused to do it without a rubber, but then we were both just awkwardly lying there, looking at the ceiling with my head on his arm. Then, out of nowhere, he said, "Well, if I can't fuck you, I guess I'm just gonna have to kill you." Then he proceeded to actually start trying to choke me out. Now, I've had many online encounters, more than I'd like to admit, but I have never been so scared in my entire life. I literally saw my life flash before my eyes. I grabbed his arm and pulled him off of me, then said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" Luckily, showing no fear while saying it. And he stopped and was just like, come on. I was only joking. You don't make jokes like that with someone who's a complete stranger. I said, and I also made a big deal about how it wasn't funny nor something that should even be joked about. Then he kept going on and on about how he didn't rape me, which I stated that I know he didn't because nothing happened. Things had calmed down a bit on the outside, but inside, I was freaking the fuck out. This man was still holding on to me, and he wasn't letting go anytime soon. I wanted to get the hell out of there and get back to my hotel where I felt safe. He finally got up and went to the bathroom, and then I finally made my escape. I put on my dress so fast and didn't even bother to put on my underwear or shoes. I just grabbed my stuff and hightailed it out of there. It doesn't end there. On my way back, this man was blowing up my phone with calls and texts saying that he didn't rape me and that he was just joking. I told him I was extremely uncomfortable and that he didn't have to worry about me going to the police, but that he needed to leave me alone and lose my number. I finally got back to the hotel around 4 a.m., and my one friend was actually still up. I then told her what happened. She said that she had a feeling that something wasn't right, and that's why she stayed awake. I am just so thankful I got out of this situation safely and unharmed, while also enjoying the rest of my vacation. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.